There was a time much like I've described before, on a skiing trip away. It was at this time of recording the last school trip, quote unquote, I remember. Residential anyway, where we stayed a few nights over. It was to Austria, St. Johann. We were staying outside of a beautiful village. It had its bits and pieces. I imagine it's much smaller nightlife than more built-up areas. And it had that very much sort of country bar aesthetic where everyone knows everyone and everyone knows the barman and the barman knows everyone. It definitely had that kind of feel to it. On the outside of the city there were sort of suburbs, it felt like, and it didn't feel like a civilization much different to our own. But when you peel back the surface and went more into the centre of town, you found areas were an awful lot more quiet. Still busy, but it felt like one of the most traditional landscapes I'd ever been in. Rustic houses and the square, the markets, the souvenirs you could buy. They knew what they were doing. And then in those suburban areas I was describing a second ago, there you found the entrance to the runs. Now, I'd had my fun in Andorra previously. I had no desire to be at the front of the pack, go racing down the hills. I stayed at the back this time, and the girls who were in my year group, there was 5 of them. I was just at the back, and I helped them up when they fell. And I liked that. It gave me some validation of doing a good thing. I'd take that over any speed demon antics. And when the sun went down, then they had their little games of poker in their own room space. I was invited in. And I wanted to be a part of that group. There was no year 10 boys at the time that came with me. I wanted to get involved. We sometimes took trips to the shop, the spa, I think I remember it was. And they got their stash of sweets and water and various other things like that. Maybe in May I went for the pastries. Of course. Why should you be surprised? And then, after a while, when the sun had long gone and dipped beneath the mountains, we played games out in the midnight mounds of snow. Hopped on toboggans. And the first friend I ever had was there on that trip. And there was once a time when we shared a toboggan, and Peter wouldn't like to admit it, but it was sweet at the time. I've explained my whole feelings about that whole thing, and they were evident there, stronger than they had been previously. But my favourite moment wasn't that at all. It was during that ski trip and the previous year with that person on the plane and also on the coach. They were heavy sleepers, and there was a time where they just fell asleep right into my shoulder. And For a time, it seemed like nothing had ever changed. I felt 3 years old again. These days, those feelings come in short supply. I'm sure they do for everyone. But you get those butterflies, just like you did when you were young. Only this time, I felt like an old man. A lost old man that had come a long way.